Joining me now is Scott Hicks, VP of Corporate Development at Lumina Gold. Great to see you again.
Hey, good to see you.
I'm not sure if we've done this in person before. This is great.
Never in person. Yeah, it's good to be back at it.
All right. Now, so the company recently released a pre-feasibility study for Cangrejos, I love saying that, in Ecuador.
Yeah.
And so let's reel off some of the numbers here. After-tax NPV, $2.2 billion, all-in sustaining costs, $671, CapEx of less than $1 billion. So how would you characterize the PFS and some of the highlights?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, if you went back to kind of the 2020 study and looked at the mine plan for that, first we wanted to convert all of that to a reserve. So we were successful in that. We converted over 100% into a reserve. So that's kind of the 12 million ounces or so you see in the reserve mine plan. The other focus was really keeping the capital flat in an inflationary environment. So what we did is we phased it. We used to start at 40,000 tons a day, go into 80,000. Now we go 30, 60, 80. We take an extra year to get to that ultimate 80,000, but it makes it a more approachable project for a mid-tier. And that's really something we've been focused on, is making sure it's a project that a mid-tier could build and not just kind of the 3 or 4 big majors that are out there, right?
Now, you're currently doing some field work, feasibility study field work, including a drilling program. You want to try to convert probable into proven ounces, essentially. So can you give us some details there?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, a lot of it's just really important de-risking for those early years in the in the production schedule. So the first 3 years of production, we're looking to convert to that next level. So going from 100-meter drill spacing to 50-meter drill spacing, and that's going to be finished by Christmas. We're also doing some geotech and met drilling out of that. So that'll be a whole new metallurgical program that gets run in Lima at our testing facility there. And the geotech obviously supports kind of the ultimate pin angles you use in the study. And just we were a little bit behind on Gran Bestia because it was discovered after Cangrejos. So we're just doing the work there that'll all support feasibility level work. We're hoping to have the feasibility done in early 2025. So all the drilling will be done late 23, and then really over to the engineers and the met testing throughout 24 to button up that feasibility study.
Now, Scott, a few months ago, I talked to Marshall Koval, Chairman CEO of Lumina Gold, and he was saying the company was in talks with the Ecuadorian government about an investor protection agreement.
Yep.
Now you have this new president. He's 35 years old, Daniel Noboa. Only for 18 months, and you can get into the politics if you like a little bit, but are you confident that he's pro-business and this doesn't change anything for you and you'll get a deal done, or does this kind of change the equation a bit?
Yeah, so it's a great question. You know, we obviously have a exploration investment protection agreement in place already that protects our existing investment. We've started the process of negotiating the exploitation agreement terms, which is kind of the economic terms that feed into your exploitation IPA. So we'd expect to have those terms kind of mid-24. I don't think the new government really changes that from our perspective. And then you would sign the eventual IPA closer to a construction decision, so probably, like 2025 type timeline. Our view on the election, we were going to be happy with either candidate, frankly, because they're both generally pro-mining and pro-business, especially responsible mining. I think it's important to kind of delineate that because there is a lot of, illegal and artisanal mining in Ecuador, and I think it's important that we promote kind of the right way to do the mining in the country. But no, I think the election outcome was very positive. The other thing I'd point out is not only who won, but who didn't even show well. The anti-mining candidate who last election got 20% support was down to 4% support. So I think it is becoming a bigger part of the Ecuadorian economy. It's now the 3rd largest export. We've seen the 2 producing mines announce expansions. So, it's becoming a bigger part of the economy. People are understanding the benefits that are coming from the royalties and taxes that are coming out of these mines.
Now, on the personnel front, you've brought in Ron Hallis as COO. For those who don't know, he worked at Kinross, Vale, long career. So what does he bring to the table? Why was he appointed?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted somebody, as you know, we do run a couple companies. We wanted somebody who was focused, 100% on Lumina Gold, the feasibility study, the execution of that, and the permits. He has a great experience at Tasiast with Kinross, as you point out. That's a very large-scale mining operation. They actually move more tonnage than what Cangrejos will move there. So having somebody who's done the operations, but also advanced a lot of feasibility studies himself, was important to us. And him and Marshall are very complementary and overlap each other in a lot of ways. But it's nice to have that 100% dedicated person who's going to be down at site 1 week a month sort of thing, and really running the feasibility, really running the permitting process.
Lastly, Scott, back to my conversation with Marshall. He talked about how he's kind of running Lumina Gold, and you are as well. The team is on parallel tracks, i.e. advancing the project. And on the other hand, your largest shareholder, Ross Beatty, told us about 6 months ago, yeah, we're looking at selling. Sure, if somebody knocks on our door, and he equated it to sort of wrapping it up with a nice bow on it. Not a great market right now, as we discussed before we came on. But how do you walk that line in terms of doing both?
Yeah, I mean, from our perspective, we're just looking for a window. If you went back to the group's history, we've sold projects at resource, PEA, PFS, feasibility, all throughout. We know you just have to keep doing the work and put your head down. As you say, not a great market. I mean, gold's 5% off the all-time highs, but valuations are near all-time lows in the developers. So it's not something we're excited to sell into. So we'll just keep doing the work. We'll look for, if there's a window in 24, we'll take advantage of it. Obviously, we're marching to get the permits, the IPA, and the feasibility all done by the end of 25 so that somebody could put a shovel in the ground. I mean, when you do talk to majors or, Chinese companies or different groups around the world, everyone's looking for near-term production or production, right? So, I mean, the closer you can get yourself to that place, the easier it's probably going to be, right? And although we've outlined a project that we think a mid-tier can take on, especially with the Whedon stream we put in place, because that covers 25% of the capital. It's $250 million US of $1 billion of capital that's covered there. We still think it's a project for a major that would build it as a bigger project, because the best IRR, the best NPV is 50,000 tons a day going to 100,000 tons a day, and really it is a project that's suited for a major. But, we've made it so that somebody else can take it on if necessary, right?
Yeah, well, it's very refreshing that you and the team is just very open about this process. So thanks for updating us and giving us some insight today.
Yeah, no problem. We're happy, and we're always here to answer for questions for people. And I know everyone wants the sale, but we're working on it.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, Scott Hicks, VP Corporate Development at Lumina Gold.